Good evening and happy summer break, everyone. We have made it. It is June 7th, and it is absolutely a beautiful evening. Well, not for us here in the Southeast, but everywhere else in the U.S. I'm your mini meteorologist, Liam Kenny, and tonight I'll be talking about several systems that we have across the U.S. and also a tropical disturbance that happened earlier this week and what the impacts were that it brought. Next, we will go to my dad's favorite website called Ventusky, where I will show you guys the current jet stream patterns and the current rainfall and the current temperatures that we have right now. Stay tuned for that. I'll be back in a minute. Welcome back, everyone. Now let's look at our temperatures right now. We have extremely warm temperatures right in the middle part of the United States. As you see, the darker red is indicating those warmer temperatures. And thank goodness, if you live in the Southeast, we've been having this major high pressure system that has stalled, and that's why we were getting those high 90s, possibly triple digits in some places in South Carolina. But thank goodness it has gone back into the Gulf of Mexico. But in the Midwest, we're looking at anywhere probably from beautiful temperatures, high 70s to low 80s, possibly mid 80s. As we head farther down south into the state of Texas, we're looking at the mid 90s right now, and it's night. And I think I'm not sure what time it is right there. But I don't know what time it is in that time zone. But in the Northwest, we are getting much cooler temperatures in the 30s and 40s. But we actually our perfect temperature where I live, where we are in the mid 70s. But let's take a minute to look at the air currents that we are having right now. As many of you know, we had an Invest 91L, which I'll talk about a little later. But it was right in the Gulf of Mexico. But we have several air currents. We have several air currents that are going north for the Midwest. We have several air currents that are in the west that are going northeast. We actually have some currents that are in the Mid-Atlantic region near Indianapolis and Cincinnati that are going southeast. And then most of the currents in the Atlantic Ocean and the Gulf of Mexico are all going north. And then basically anything in the southeast or mid-Atlantic is also going southwest. So we have several different air currents right now. Many of them are either going southwest or northeast. But I'm not seeing too much. Wind. But this is the wind gust right now. Let's see the precipitation if there's any right now. We'll get to that in a minute. But we do have. See, this is also one of the systems I've been talking about. I'm not sure what those white dots are. Maybe they're lightning. But as you can see, we have two different systems that we are watching. One that is absolutely slamming the southeast. We had some rain a few hours ago where I live. But we also have our new system that'll be, I think maybe a cold front, I believe, that is in the northwest right now, and then it'll be heading on a southeasterly track. And then once it gets down to the southeast, as I always said, the Gulf of Mexico will be pushing all the moisture in, and it'll be pushing it back up to the northeast. So that will conclude this video. Next, I will go to Tornado HQ because, as you can see, this system that we're looking at right here, I know for a fact, because I already checked it, there are some severe thunderstorm warnings that I will get to in just a minute. Stay tuned. Hello once again, ladies and gentlemen. The last graphic I showed you, what our temperatures were looking at, what our temperatures were looking like, and also the air currents. But now, I want to get into the warnings that we have. As I said in the last video, we have two different systems that we were watching. One that's in the southeast and one that's in the northwest. And the northwest is causing most of the warnings that we have right now. So let's head up into North Dakota. We have three severe thunderstorm warnings. This was in the southern part of North Dakota. Let me zoom in a little bit more on that one. So this one is to the northwest of Jamestown. But this one says, let me read it on my computer so it's a little bit better for me to read. This one says at 7:48 p.m. Central Time, a severe thunderstorm was located near Medina and is moving northeast at 35 miles per hour. And we're actually getting wind signatures of 60 miles per hour. So if you live to the northwest of Jamestown, be ready to get some hail. And then also to the north of that, let me see if it'll tell me. Yes, near Devis Lake, we have two severe thunderstorm warnings. And then let me go back down south. Let me zoom out so I can see what state this is in. This is these next severe thunderstorm warnings. They're going to be in the northwestern part of South Dakota and the southeastern part of Montana. So let's go to the one in Montana real fast. This one says at 6:29 p.m. Mountain Time, a severe thunderstorm warning was located over Ridgeway, or 30 miles south of Eklika, and it is moving northeast at 50 miles per hour. And we're also getting hail signatures of 1.75 inches. And then also one in South Dakota. This one says at 6:54 p.m. Mountain Time, a severe thunderstorm was located southeast of Buffalo, and is moving north at 40 miles per hour. This has winds of up to 60 miles per hour, and it's getting hail up to 1 inch. But we also have some severe thunderstorm warnings that are down in the south, in the state of Mississippi. There's only one right now, but we have several storms that are around it. This one is right near Hattiesburg, just to the north actually of Hattiesburg, and it's right near Sumrall, I believe, and also Ellisville. But this one says at 8:06 p.m. Central Time, a severe thunderstorm was located over Sanford, or 10 miles southeast of Collins, and is moving north at 40 miles per hour. This storm has winds up to 40 miles per hour, and also hail 1 inch. But as you can see, just because even if you don't have a severe thunderstorm warning or any warning in your area, that doesn't mean that these storms could potentially be severe. As you can see, we have a long line of heavy thundershells that are powering through the central part of South Carolina, which is the state that I live. Columbia, South Carolina is getting absolutely pummeled, and Greenville, Aiken, South Carolina, plus Orangeburg. And just for that, if you do live in South Carolina, these storms will all be heading southeast. So if you live anywhere near Charleston, Somerville, Pawleys Island, Myrtle Beach, where I live, North Myrtle Beach, Conway, Carolina Forest, Dillon County, and also the western parts of North Carolina, be ready throughout the midnight hours. This will definitely head your way. I already know that we're going to get some storms at around possibly 12:30 a.m. to 1 in the morning. So again, if you live anywhere in the southeast, in South Carolina, on the eastern coast, like Myrtle Beach, Pawleys Island, Charleston, Columbia, be ready to get some heavy storms tonight, because I know I am. So that'll be the end of this video. Next, we will be actually going to the radars. We're actually going to be comparing two radars, and they are both provided by the Weather Channel and ABC 15. Stay tuned for that. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Now, in the last video, we used a website called Tornado HQ, where we saw the current severe thunderstorm warnings. So now on this radar and also the ABC 15 radar, let's see how much power these storms really have, because we weren't really able to see how much power these storms had in them. So this was in South Dakota. This was one of the storms that was making a severe thunderstorm warning. So let's zoom in a little bit closer. There we go. So as you can see, there's I think this was the storm that had the severe thunderstorm warning in it. But as you can see, it's not a too well-defined storm. There is some batches of heavy rainfall, like this area, some of these areas, that area, this area right there. They're all going to be rain areas, but just some are going to be stronger than the others. So I believe this was, I'm not 100% sure, but I'm almost 100% sure that this was the storm that we had that severe thunderstorm with. But let's head back to the southeast, near my area. So this was, I'm going to head to South Carolina just because it's my home state real fast. But as you can see, just on this radar too, we have a long line of storms that are coming through the central part of South Carolina. Right here, this star right here, this is Manning, South Carolina. This is Columbia, South Carolina. This was right there, that's Bamberg. This is Orangeburg right here. And there's, what is that? That is Barnwell, excuse me. I don't know, I couldn't really see that on my projector. But we have a long line of systems coming through. I definitely would not be surprised if overnight these storms definitely turn into severe thunderstorm warnings. So so just be ready just in case. Make sure you have your phone on vibrate, your vibrator on as loud as you can go. But let's head over to the ABC 15 radar. It's basically showing us the same exact thing. But let's head back. I want to go to Mississippi and Alabama, because they are getting also very heavy storms. So we have a good sized line of storms that is heading right to the south of Baton Rouge. It's still to the west of New Orleans, but we have some near Hattiesburg. We've got some very heavy storms north of Hattiesburg that are making torrential downfall right there on the mouse. That's where it is going to be right there. Birmingham and Tuscaloosa, if you guys don't remember, Tuscaloosa was where that huge tornado had hit. I don't know what year it was, but it was a major EF4 tornado with sustained winds of 155 miles per hour. So a very bad storm. Thank goodness it looks like the storms are just off to your west. But let's go to the back to the Weather Channel for a minute before I conclude out this video. Let's just look at the future radar real fast just to see where these storms are heading. You just got to give it a minute. Technology is so advanced these days. It's getting all sorts of weather details. You just got to give it a minute and be, cooperative with it. So as you can see, it looks to me it's kind of moving in the shape of a hurricane. Obviously, it's definitely not a hurricane, but just all these storms are kind of circling around this area. But they're still gonna be moving to the northeast. But it is kind of circling in a hurricane form. Obviously, as I just said, it is not going to be a hurricane at all. But it just looks like it. But this is at 2:54 a.m. Eastern time. We have this storm is well more developed. It actually is hitting my area by this time. Now let's head up to the north west to see the other system. And it looks like we have a new system coming in off the Pacific Ocean in the northwest, but we don't have to worry about that. But we actually do have some snowfall, yes, even though it is June for us, we still have some snow. It's very hard to believe, but we still do have snow in certain parts of the U.S. So anywhere, let me actually zoom in on that because this is actually kind of surprising me. You really don't see snow this time of year. But it'll be around Bozeman and Dillon cities and the state of Idaho. So I'm going to wrap up this video, but next I will be showing you guys a tropical storm slideshow because I want to get more into talking about Invest 91L. Good evening once again, ladies and gentlemen. In this video, I want to talk about nothing but tropical storms because we almost had tropical storm form just a few days ago. That was Invest 91L, but let's get right into it. So you might be asking yourself, well, what is a tropical storm? A tropical storm is a severe storm that forms over the Atlantic Ocean and warm ocean waters. The winds in a tropical storm can range anywhere from 35 to 74 miles per hour. And a tropical storm can bring severe storm surges, just like a hurricane, heavy rainfall, severe flooding, and extreme power outages. I'm not sure what tropical storm this one was, but it was definitely a good-sized storm. So now, how does the tropical storm form? Well, a tropical storm forms over the Atlantic Ocean where there's warm ocean waters, and the winds have to be blowing at least 35 miles per hour in order for this storm to form. And then obviously once the winds in this storm reach over 75 miles per hour, then it turns into a hurricane. So now just like a hurricane, it also has different parts, like dangerous and calm. So some of the sections could be more dangerous than the others. So tropical storm doesn't have an eye like a hurricane, but it does have a middle, which obviously that is going to be the most common part. And then it does have that kind of outer midge edge that is the worst part, just like a hurricane. Obviously the worst part of a hurricane is going to be that outer cloud wall. But unlike a hurricane, a tropical storm doesn't really have any categories, but tropical storms and tropical depressions are basically the same thing. The only difference is really the wind speeds. So now tropical storm evacuations are mainly the same as hurricanes, which I'll get to that in a minute. But they use different zones, and actually let's just go to the zones real fast. I have that pulled up. So these are different zones that we have usually for hurricanes. If you're in zone A, that means you have to evacuate. It's absolutely mandatory. If you live in zone B, it's medium. You only have to evacuate if you want to. And then if you're in zone C, then it's a minor zone. And you do not have to evacuate. Obviously you can. It's your choice, but they're not telling you have to. So now, just like a hurricane, a tropical storm does have aftermath. And it's similar to a hurricane, but a little bit different. Hurricanes are far worse than tropical storms or depressions. Therefore, tropical storms will do damage, but not absolutely catastrophic damage. Thank goodness for that. And also, let me go back. These are trees that are down. We have tons of debris on the roads. This is a tree right here. The power lines absolutely dumped. But I think actually this is like a rock wall. This is all debris that's all fallen down from the rock wall. I'm guessing from the top. So very bad. So I'll wrap up this video, and next will be my last and final video for this broadcast, and we'll be talking about the weekend forecast for this weekend. If you are at the Carolina Country Music Festival this weekend, it's not looking too good, unfortunately, but I'll get to that in just a minute. Please stay tuned. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I thank you so much for watching my video. If you were at the country music, if you live in South Carolina like I do, and you were hitting the Carolina Country Music Festival, unfortunately the forecast is not looking great. And here it is, Saturday and Sunday, both rain. The temperatures are nice. The high temperature on Saturday is 81 and the low is 74. A 50% chance of rain. And Sunday gets even worse with a 60% chance of rain, thunderstorms, but absolutely great temperatures. So now let's talk about INVEST. Well, what is an INVEST? An INVEST is a tropical disturbance that meteorologists watch and examine very, very closely. And that's why they're called INVEST, because they're like investigating it. They usually form in the Caribbean seas or the Gulf of Mexico. And these disturbances are what eventually turn into tropical storms or depressions and then eventually hurricanes. So this was INVEST 91L. This is how it formed. Usually all the hurricanes that we get in the U.S., they always form off the western coast of Africa. So this was it when it finally formed. This is just west of the Mexico Peninsula right there. This was moving. It was stationary. The winds were at 25 miles per hour. Now this is when it really started to form. This is when the National Hurricane Center was giving it a 60% chance of development. But this is the 5-day development area that they were possibly watching. It was just saying that if it was going to form, it was most likely to form in this area. It also brought torrential downpours. Anywhere in the orange, that's going to be around 5 to 8 inches. That's the most. But anywhere near Brownsville, they got, I think, maybe around 2 to 3 inches. But also, we had tons of yellow. Thank goodness most of it was off in the ocean, but that did indicate 3 to 5. This was actually the rain that we had. This was at Tuesday at 6 p.m. Eastern time. Brownsville, Texas, was getting into that. Corpus Christi, it's showing that you were cloudy, but from the look of this radar, I think you were in rain. San Antonio, you were definitely getting thunderstorms. I know Houston, you got absolutely pounded with this. And this was the rainfall forecast that we had from New Orleans. As you can see, 3 to 5 inches. But I do want to go to this video that I found. This was a past video that I found. But it does show you the best way that a tropical INVEST like this forms. It doesn't have any sound, but just watch this really closely. So this is how tropical INVEST forms right there. See how it forms right there? Let me go back to that once again just to play it again. Oops. So right there. Let me pause it right there. As you can see, this is how it forms. This is how they all form. They start, just like these little disturbances, and then they, kind of form together and create one big storm. So that's how they form. Let me just show that video once again, just in case you weren't watching it. This is how they always form in the Gulf of Mexico and the Caribbean seas. There you go, right there. So it was a very bad storm. I know it did bring several impacts, but thank goodness it wasn't too bad, and thank goodness it didn't turn into anything but a little INVEST. So that'll be the end of my video tonight. I hope you guys enjoyed my broadcast. Once again, if you live in South Carolina and you are heading to Carolina Country Music Festival tonight, as you can see from the look at this graphic right here, it does not look good, but hopefully keep our fingers crossed. This forecast will change and it'll be down to 0% chance of rain and absolutely clear skies, but by the look of this forecast, it doesn't look like that. Once again, I thank you for watching this video and I hope you have a great weekend. And once again, to all those kids out there, happy summer vacation!